Todd Medina, Soldier One Studios. Got a little soul speak, something different. What do we have here, man? I mean, between us all, one and all. Got to count it all, because we all are climbing the same mountain. We got these building blocks of differences, directed by our inferences, culture, country, clannish preferences, religious references. Seems we were controlled by outer man. Seems we are conceived by inner man. This was all the plan to find our way back now. Yeah, it's a master's plan. We're all the same brand. Gone is the indifferences to our differences. Got to start asking ourselves, what are these differences? Can't be all that strong. What happens when we start taking them down one by one, these walls? You go first, man. And then you go next, sister. Take out Islam, Muhammad, Allah. Okay, then take out Jesus, Mary, Joseph, and all the gods. Let's take out white ain't always right. I love the beauty of the darkest night. You say no more gays, I say no more straights. What about the sciences, stars, houses, wars, cars? Strip it all off till we have nothing left. Nothing left at all. But what? Me and you? You and me? Then the other is gone, and what you got left? That's all we need. That's all we got. That's all we need. That's all we got. It's all we need. And it's all we got. And that ought to tell you something about who and what. You all right? Who and what you and I are. We are the Jesus and Allah, the science, the spirits, and the stars coming down the promenade, apocalyptic, no longer cryptic. Mother Mystic says the veil is lifted. Time to come home. But stay where you are. Stay where you are, baby. That's all we need. And that's all we got. It's all we need. And it's all we got. It's all we need. And it's all we got. Namaste. Just waiting for our guest here. She'll be here in just a second. Do another little soul speak while we're waiting. How y'all doing today? 29 people in the house. Welcome everybody to the show. Just remember, we're no longer dreaming the life. We're living the dream. Here she comes. Todd Medina, Soldier One Studios. What's going on here? She's coming in. Democracies, we got all the technology worked out. Monarchies, hierarchies, presidents, and popes. What's the real dope? What's this all about? Faith, hope, doubt. That's all that earth stuff, man. I am a multi-dimensional, high-vibrational, evolutionary being, and I'm tired of hiding it. I am soul. I don't care who or what tried or is trying to deceive us. Call it the devil or another's Messiah, prophet, or God. It's all the same to me. Whoever they are, they can never take our souls, and that's when we came here to learn. From the burn of being wrong, denying who we are, taking orders, lawless laws, a branded existence, but not anymore. I am divinity. Yeah. All right. The power we hold to mold the future, heavenly nirvana. From the inside, present, eternal. It's time to be a bolder flame. The game isn't the same. We are the spirit science synthesis, the action of conscious thought, alignment, transmuting to a living wisdom. Yeah. No longer dreaming the life. I am living the dream. All right, everybody. About to get this show started. We got 33 people in the house. We all know what that number means. We got a beautiful divine goddess come here to join us. And let me just let her know she plugged in her headphones. No, she should be good. She should be good. If for some reason you can't hear when you come on, just go out, come back in, because sometimes when you plug the headphones in after you've done it, it won't come through. But I think we're going to be fine. So welcome to the show, everybody. My name's Todd Medina. I see some new faces out there. This is the Soul G Network. This is our flagship broadcast, which is called Soul Speaks 5D. It's a conversation with, and today it's the incredible divine goddess, Grace Zalaris. She's here. She just left, but she's coming back. She's coming right back. She went out to come back in. It's good to see everybody. 38 people in the house. If these shows resonate with you, please share. I think she misunderstood my directions, but that's okay. We're going to make this happen. She's over in Europe somewhere because I know she's 6 hours ahead of us. Here she comes. She's going to jump right in here. We're going to put her feet to the fire. Let's see what we got. You can hear us? Oh, there we go. So, like I said, this is the way. How are you? Those of you, thank you. For those of you who don't know, we do everything spontaneously, creatively, intuitively, imaginatively. That's where our true power is and our natural nature is. Therefore, we don't have any type of rehearsal or anything. This is a conversation. Today, it's a conversation with the beautiful divine goddess, Grace. Thank you for honoring us with your presence and sharing space with us today. I've heard a lot about you from my divine partner. And yes, namaste. Namaste, everybody. How are you today, Grace?
Thank you. I'm great. I'm feeling really ecstatic and good. And I'm just enjoying the energies because the energies are just amazing these days. And it's just, expansion all over. So I'm really great. And I'm very honored to have this opportunity to speak here in this great community of souls that are just into opening up to love and to all these great opportunities. I just see I need some connection here for some reason.
You go ahead and do what you got to do. You're doing good. We appreciate that. There you go. Yes, it's all good. So, yes, I checked out some of your stuff today, which I want to talk about. I don't know a whole lot, but that's what we do here. This show is all about activations and code exchange. And it's all about just coming out. We learn as we go. We learn from each other. This is our 458th episode. So that's a good number. That's a good number. I think that's an infinity number if I remember when I looked at it this morning. But I like to ask people because they look at people like you, souls like you. We've all gone through this transition, and there was a certain aspect of I don't want to say yogi guru because I don't mean that in a bad way whatsoever. But they look at people who were so elevated in their minds, me included, and say, wow, she can do this and she can do that and she connects to this and she can connect to that. And one of the things we try to do here is embody the human aspect of it because we are the gift as well as the mission. But I like to ask people, when did you wake up or were you born and woke up?
Let's say like this, from early on, as far as I can remember, I just knew, I came here with a purpose. And one of the things that I always said from very, very early age, was like, if I can't do that, I can as well pack my suitcase and I'm off, but I always knew it was something that I had to prepare for. I know it was something that would come a bit later on in life. So let me say like that. I things like, I remember when I must have been around 12 or something. I read this huge article, about UFOs and star beams and extraterrestrials and all that. And to me, it was just normal, like there's a tree out there. This is, to me, it wasn't a matter of believing in that. I mean, to me, it's just insane, to think about. We're the only life. I mean, it's just, I cannot, it's just an impossibility to me, because it's just so normal. And the same about reincarnation. It was not something we believe in incarnation, it was just like, to me, it was just normal, because I could feel so connected to so many places. And so it was kind of inherent in me. So you can say I was conscious about that. I came here to do something, but of course, due to my upbringing and, incarnating in very toxic environment, yes. I had hard times, very hard times, and of course built up a lot of layers of ego, of protection, and false beliefs, about who I am, and I adapted into being someone that I wasn't. So it was a lot of work, yes. A lot of work but I devoted myself very early to start this work, let's say from early 2021, I can't, it's not an exact date, because it wasn't kind of with many, it was initiated. If somebody had, and I got saved or something. For me, it's just, I knew I had to go this path, and I was naturally, one that was very curious, I was a starseed. I knew I was here to change stuff. I came here, I was curious. I was the one, I just asked questions where everyone is saying, you don't ask that, or, you're hesitant. So I had this natural tendency to ask twice, also with somebody told me this is because something, it's a bit of that. I guess it was like, I don't believe I'm an indigo in that way. I'm more like the blue rays, so very sensitive and empathic and naturally telepathic.
Yes.
But I have this tendency to be a bit rebellious about, don't tell me it's like that. If I feel something different, I don't just buy that because some authority tells me to, and that's a very typical trait for the starseeds. They don't just buy into that,
Yeah.
I mean, they also say it's typical for the indigos, but I just say, let's just say starseed, whether you're indigo or whatever way, you're just here to bring change, your system buster, and you just knew there's more to it than the story that you get told,
Yes, I think starseeds is just another name for rebel.
Yes, exactly. And I always saw myself as a rebel, and give me a sign that says no trespass, and you can make sure I will go and look what's behind that door.
That's right.
So it's just this natural curiosity, and I guess because we carry a very ancient wisdom, we have been a lot around. Let's just say it like that. So. We have this, whether it's directly accessible or not, whether we are conscious, aware of the wisdom that we carry, it's there, it's there, and that's why we ask twice, and we are explorers of consciousness, you could say. And I knew pretty early, again, can't say that, but I knew somehow, and I've seen visions, of me sitting in a huge place with many, many people, and I was just like infiltrator, but in a positive way, just sitting there, and I just knew I'm one in this, and I'm here to do change, but I didn't do anything, but that's how I saw myself, that I came to bring about light, and so this is something that I just knew very early, and I also knew that there would come some callings when I would start activating ground crew, you may say, and I have waited very patiently, and patience is not really my greatest trait, but somehow I managed because everything that I have done on my path has always been, when I'm really told and pushed, to do something, I just honored, and that's why I've been told crazy. I've been told you're crazy, you're nuts, you're this and that. You take risks. You quit your job, you go, you travel to other countries, you sign. You leave your apartment. You're homeless. Like I heard you are. I've been living on the street 3 months, and even go look in the dustbin for things because I didn't have something to eat. And I have been starting from zero so many times in my life. And every time, it's just, from every time you just get stronger, but you just have this inner trust, somehow it's just gonna work out. But in the start, I didn't even think about, is it gonna work out? I didn't even ask that question.
You're definitely giving me extreme validation. Your story, we're definitely kindred spirits. There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
You seem to have a very strong galactic connection. Can you talk about that a little bit in regard to your journey and what your relationship is with the galactic families?
Yes. As I said, I knew there was, I stood to go back to my childhood. The funny thing was, I had 4 sisters and brothers, and my mother actually said, which was pretty amazing, she said, you came from the stars. And maybe she said that because she saw me always as a child. I stood outside and I looked at the sky and I looked for home. I knew just out there, some of them, that's my home, And so I had a hard time for many years and didn't want to be on this planet. That's another issue that many starseeds have. And so I wasn't really embodied. I wasn't here. I wasn't embodied. I longed to go home. And I learned to find that, I am home. Home is just a frequency. And when you connect with all your aspects, your human aspects, as well as your higher aspects, in fact, there's no higher and lower, but, that's the words that we often use. You just become one when you can shed off that incarnational story line, that you made for this incarnation, and you can, let go of that limited of who you were supposed to be. When you can really step out of that and behind, then all these beautiful aspects can come in, So it takes a lot of healing, I mean, by some it can happen faster. It doesn't have to be a long road. But I mean, I guess mine was because I have learned so much about it, and I have, I'm doing sessions and helping so many. So I have been through so many things that are common issues, that the collective, healing the collective wounds, especially when it comes to wounds on the divine feminine, that is something that many have been working so much with now, because it's so necessary that we come back into our hearts.
Yes.
And to really honor the divine feminine attributes of, really getting out of the head, because it's all about this masculine approach to life. We're so much into doing instead of being. Everything has been reversed.
Yes.
We have to do things. We have to be in control, and then, so you always have to be 2 steps ahead, and you are in control, and you totally interfere, like the word fear, interfere with life, and that's where all the suffering starts. You mess up the whole thing when you start to interfere, because you come from a place of fear. And so, when you come from a place of fear, you attract exactly that which you want to avoid.
Yes.
Yeah. Whereas when you're in your heart, you can surrender.
Yeah. I love that.
Go with the flow.
I love that play on the enunciation, though, if you think about it, because everything is code. The word interfere, interfere, but then interfere, if you say it and take that spelling of it, interfere. So enters fear, so that's a powerful. That was a powerful implant by the transformer controllers right there into the language, right?
Yeah, it was. And I was actually shown that, so that's always when I'm writing posts about this, I write inter and then here. So it really shows what is this really, and that if you really refrain from doing that and you surrender to the divine flow, trusting, surrendering, then your soul and all your guides and all the beautiful, you become one with creation. You come into the zero point where everything is there.
Yeah.
You know what, Todd, because it also touched me so much when I heard about the situation that you had been in, this brother like that talked about it, also that how we should share and help each other. It touched me so much. Because I have, like you, also, been in this crazy situation, starting up so many times, been living in 5 countries, and been, living on the edge, so long time in my life. Then I became children, I got the children, and I had things changed, right? But yet, it didn't stop me. At times, I've always gone where I was guided to go. And so, but as I learned really to embody this divine feminine, and be in my heart space, then the miracle starts to happen.
Yes.
The miracle starts to happen.
And that seems to be a really powerful energy or epiphany. I don't know what the word is, a reality here in the last couple of weeks. I've gotten some stuff on it, and some people wrote stuff before it and after it, I'm sure, in regard to that masculine, that false masculine energy that's in all of us, that has had a hold of us at such a subtle level, it was almost undetectable. And the converse of that as well, in bringing in that divine feminine mother goddess energy, like you said, into the heart. Somebody that I interviewed yesterday said, well, what it is, as I was telling her what happened to me the last week, she said it's the masculine going back through the umbilical into the womb of Mother Goddess. Because I told her, I said, I feel like I've done a lot of work. I know I have. And then I'm getting hit with this, and I'm like stripped down to the bone. And Morgan said, what do you mean stripped down? I said, I mean stripped to the bones of the soul. There's nothing left. So what we do is we start over now. We start over.
That's the thing. And I would like to share that from my journey, because it now comes up. I did a lot of work on my own, but I also attended at some point a mystery school with all the ancient teachings from Lemuria and Atlantis, that everyone wants to join a mystery school, or at least at the time. And so it was really a fantastic, and it was a 2-year. It was not just a weekend something and I get a certificate, it was an initiation, it was an initiation, and we met every month, like 4 days every month, over 2 years. But as with everything, I didn't finish it because I I followed my heart, and at some point, I just came to the point, my soul just stopped me and said, no, you cannot continue like this, because I realized that though he wasn't a guru in that way, but it was a teacher, and I took on teaching from another person, third party, and I suddenly felt this has no value. I have to feel this. I have to experience this. I cannot, it's like taking over a concept or taking over an experience of someone else. And it suddenly didn't have no value to me anymore. So it was crazy. Oh, you're leaving the mystery school. Are you crazy? And I had so many papers with healing methodologies, with all sorts of stuff. And I burned every single paper, put it into the fire. And that's when it started.
That sounds like you
healing out.
It sounds like you went mainstream direct with infinite intelligence at that point.
Exactly.
That's what I was
and that's what I was guided to. I was guided to, and that's when I was stripped down to the core, layers after layer, like an onion. And I was stripped down to there was nothing. No, you know, guides my whole life, you know, I didn't know this, do any question. There was just nothing I could hold on to. I was just floating in nothingness. I didn't know anything. So at that time it was, you know, like the dark night of the soul. And then at a point I just felt, wow, I cannot continue that. Something is wrong here. And I just felt that, okay, I've just disconnected with everything, even my own soul, my own essence. Yeah. And then a beautiful being called Adama, who's a high priest from, you know, Telos is in Mount Shasta. They have, within Mount Shasta, they have an etheric retreat. And he is a resident there. And he brought the survivors of Lemuria. They made exile at this place, and it's still existing. And he came to me and greeted me. And that was then my reopening again. But everything was clear. I had also taken a channel education. Everything was clear. So I started from zero. And it was just, I knew the only way that I could honor my own divine connection. Yes. And I could become aligned. And there was nothing anyway. I had to step away. It had to be stripped off. So I was just totally empty, you know, and then the I am presence could step in, and I could gather in, connect all aspects of self and come into this wholeness. And that's really when I realized I had this in my night of self-realization. As I said, I just had a moment of just feeling, wow, this is ridiculous, you know. I just like, it's as simple as that. Love. It's who and what I am. Yeah. There's nothing else. It's love. It's why I am. It's who and what and why I am.
Exactly.
And that was a very freeing.
Yes.
Very free moment.
And so I noticed on one of your most recent posts, if I'm not mistaken, because I was going through a lot of people's stuff, you had a transmission or event involving message from Arcturian Council. Is that right?
Yes. Now, we have that tomorrow. And you asked me that question before. I'm sorry I didn't answer.
No. It's all spontaneous. There's no apologies here. This is all perfect. In fact, I want to reiterate before we proceed with everyone the importance of what Grace is talking about, going back to what I said at the top of the show, because many people more every day are experiencing the things that she has experienced in other, what we might call way showers that have been doing this for a few years. But keep in mind, they were breaking down energetic doors. So those who are waking up to a wider awareness now are going through the same thing. And on the human timeline, it's much quicker. So don't be afraid. Don't let the matrix interfere. I mean, this is actually a common ground, a common consciousness and frequency that we all share. And it's so good for you to be sharing this with us, because they can understand that they're just like you. Now, but back to now, I guess what I was getting at, I know you have a strong, it's obvious, a very deep connection, a very universal connection. Do you work specifically with a certain star family or families, and do they have a distinct message for you to deliver?
I'm working with several galactics that have come into, they have introduced themselves to me. Yeah. You know, through the work I did in the mystery school, we worked with a lot of star energies connecting with different stars, galaxies, and all sorts. But as I said, all that was erased. It was happened afterwards. Was that, and it's like that in everything I do. I don't ask things. I don't say, so now, you know, for example, it's solstice. Are we going to do anything? Or I call on them, let's do a meditate. You know, I wait until I'm called. And that's also what's happening when the beings come into my life. It's like this, you know, when somebody should experience it, it's like you're just totally overlighted so that you cannot doubt any moment that there is a higher being of light there. You feel it. And right, I'm very telepathic, so I hear, I see, I perceive it. It's, you know, it's full sensory perception. So, and then they introduce themselves, and there has been several. So I'm very involved with the Pleiadians, but especially the Arcturians came in last autumn, and I had no idea how this was going to evolve. I had been told years back that I also had the Arcturian lineage, but I've never had anything to do with them.
Yes.
So I didn't call them, hey guys, I'm told you've been, I didn't. So I waited, and I waited because I think I had that reading back in 2006 or something. Some English guy who works a lot with galactics too, with star lineages. He can inform you about this, which I'm also doing now. I'm giving readings in that myself now about the star lineage. But they suddenly just turned up and they started to communicate with me, and it was just so clear. It was just so, I mean, I've been channeling and receiving telepathically, but it was just like hearing somebody speaking to me in a room, you know. It was just with such clarity. It was, I'm very grateful for that. And then it just started. They wanted to do a transmission, and then it turned out to become these monthly transmissions that I do, and it's all about empowering us and supporting us in transmuting, especially this what you call the junk DNA, the parts of our DNA that has been shut down due to manipulations, that have been done throughout the evolution, that some star races that had their own agenda and wanted to have control, they really messed up, our DNA. So they are here to support us, to you can say repair it in that way, and to download us. And so each month they are offering different things to help us recover our divine blueprints.
Yes.
Yeah. And it has just turned out to be amazing. The amazing feedback that I get is just amazing. And, we started last October, and every month is just growing because people really awaken. They get empowered, they can connect people. They have spontaneous openings of the spiritual gifts.
Yes.
Start spontaneous light language, or they get clarity, and there's so many wonderful things that happen. And so I'm just guided to do these. So I'm kind of facilitating this. I'm connected with them through my own Arcturian higher aspect. You can't. It's just I'm one with them. It's not. You can't separate it. Yeah. You can't separate it. So I'm kind of connected with them and holding this field for the group, with the group, because everyone who taps into the group are supporting this group force field. So it's a co-creation in a way, you can say. And And so tomorrow we are almost around 300, which is amazing.
Wow.
Wow. It's really amazing. So I'm just, wow, it's almost like it's going viral now, because the maximum we've had was around 190, often around 160, 170, and then so now we just almost, it's really amazing. But
that is amazing.
It's really because people are ready now, and I really feel people, they just love it. The ground crew are so eager to get on with it now. We have been too long hiding in our, in disguise, in our spiritual closet. We have been preparing, healing, transforming, preparing ourselves. Some, as you say, some are waking up very fast. It's not, it can be, it's nothing. It can just be, it doesn't need to be a long-term thing, you know. It was different, you know, the ones that started, you know, I started 30 years ago, 30 years ago. It was a whole different time. The energies are so high now that actually it's just a matter of clicking into place, you know. It's all about vibration.
Yes, that's incredible.
It's all about vibration and being in the heart space.
Yes. I want to thank Kelly Jean McGrain. She's posted in the comments the event tomorrow. I'm assuming that takes place on your Facebook page, or do you have a specific group or page?
I've created an event.
Okay.
But I've also posted it in my Acturian page, which is called Grace Solaris Acturian High Council.
Yes, Kelly Jean, if you could post that to my page, if you don't mind, and I'll spread it around the Solargy network. Because if you've got that many people coming, we already know it's good stuff, and we need those activations so we can get it out to the Solargy community and support this energy. That's what we're here to do. That's exactly what we're here to do.
And the people are so ready for this. They are so ready to really embrace the full galactic mastery, to be the avatars that we came here to be, to really get this thing rolling, you know, to get back into orbit, you know, and really have a party. You know, we are here to, you know, we're not here to suffer and struggle. It's supposed to be fun. And we are supposed to live in harmony and do good stuff, you know, to co-create the new earth together. And, you know, there is no way back, you know. It's just that they are getting desperate, certain beings who are trying to keep us trapped in this 3D matrix. But it's just over. It's over. You know, the timelines, you know, we are shifting now into this 0 point that... and when we shift into that vibrationally, you know, we are unreachable. We become the untouchable ones.
We are that. We are that. The only thing working against us now is a residual of that that controlling energy that's in us. You know, so it's becoming easier and easier every day as people are now creating in the spontaneous and with the intuitive mind, with our natural nature. And letting go of the constructs of these laws and borders and countries and institutions and cultural conditionings that, you know, like you said, the more people that come, the bigger it gets. And that's the wave that you're building. And we honor you for that. And we honor you for your service to humanity and for doing the work. I want to talk a little bit about the divine feminine energy. You seem to have some good insight into that. Can you talk a little bit about where it's at now and what's happening?
Yeah, exactly. That's another part of my work. It's very diverse, many things, and that's I'm very connected to Mary Magdalene, and she contacted me years back, and also to Jeshua. And the funny thing was, I actually had a horoscope laid, and it was actually something that you could see in the horoscope, which I didn't know about. It's a very ancient kind of astrology from the Babylonian time. And I was, at birth, I was connected to a star which stands for the Holy Grail. So it's like, it's called Laparum, to those that I didn't know about. I never heard of that planet, but in those who know, it stands for the Holy Grail. So I have basically, it was conjunct on the time of my birth. So I'm kind of permanently aligned with these teachings of the Christ, with Mary Magdalene and Jeshua and that whole thing. And Mary Magdalene, she came also to me and started to give me strong messages about calling out for the women to step up as leaders, and also for the men, of course, to to heal the divine feminine within them and to give space to the divine feminine within, because the divine feminine is like, if you like, the shepherd of humanity, and it's like there is no better or worse, but it's just like it is when there is too much dominance of this patriarchal energy. It's the intellect. So it has been like that. The intellect is just domination, like the patriarchal dominion. But when you are in the divine feminine energies, you honor all that is. You are a divine instrument. You honor divine will, and that's why it's so important that when we are in our heart space and we just surrender to this divine flow of energy, we are in alignment always. What honors the highest good of all. Yes. So you can say that when those two are balanced, you can say each should serve the other one, but it's like the feminine need to take the lead in a way. Not that she's more important, but the intellect is there to serve the soul. Yes. Yeah, because the soul is this duality mindset. It's the I, as when you're in your heart space, you're connected to soul, you're connected with all that is, and you're connected to divine will. And when you surrender to that, and if that takes the lead, you will always honor what serves the whole. It's very important. Yeah.
No, it's a very, very good point. Very powerful. And thank you for sharing. Yeah. That's a very important message at this time.
And Mary Magdalene told me to bring this message, which was also so in resonance. It got massive response. I remember at the time over 1,000. It was a New Year's message when I was in the middle of a shower and she started to give this thing through, and it got very much the response. That we really trust in our hearts, in the divine intelligence of our heart, that we trust our feelings, we trust our intuition, that we don't, and we have been told, so much you can't trust your feelings, it's unreliable and all that, but we should just really give all our trust to our feelings, and no matter how the mind interferes, that we should really just trust and surrender to whatever our heart tells us to do, because then we are aligned and we are guided to always do what is to our highest good and to the highest good for all involved, and we see solutions that we wouldn't see, and that's the amazing things. When you start to come into your heart space and you honor this divine feminine attributes of surrendering and giving up control, basically, that's a way of, that's what the Arcturians also tell me, that's the new way of the new word. You are materializing. You are no longer manifesting. That was the male energy. You are manifesting. I decide I want to visualize this. I want to do that because I want this and that. But in the new energy, in the divine feminine energy, which is balanced, in divine union with the divine masculine, you are in your heart and you manifestate. But now they said it's like it just materializes along through you just being in your heart space, holding the divine intent and being the vibrational match of that which you intend, that which you hold the intent of. Yeah. So it's really doing through being in a way. Yes. You don't, there's no effort involved. It's fun.
Yes, it is.
And that's what I said. That's where the miracles start to happen, because things start to come from you. You just see, oh wow, somebody called you, or somebody, you get a book, you get an invitation, doors open where you didn't see any, you didn't, it's just miraculous, and it's really fun. It's really fun and it's effortless, and that we can all have now.
Yeah,
everyone.
It takes all the planning, the organizing, the framing up, all that. 2 months ago, we had a show with the divine goddess, Lisa Transcendence Brown, and she made that point very clear. She said, you know, we need to take the term manifestation out of our vocabulary. It's materialization. Materialization.
You said that.
Yes.
Amazing. I didn't know that.
That's the first time I heard it, and I've tried to replace it, you know, in my vocabulary, materialize. But I'm getting better and better at it. But that's very true, because I'm seeing it happen in my life. Morgan and I are seeing it happen, where we get past the old conditioning of having to try to figure this out and figure that out and organize this and organize.
Exactly.
It's very much a spontaneous thing. That materialization is becoming a shorter distance, if you can put it that way, on the human timeline between the thought or the state of being and when it actually occurs. I'll give you an example. We had a show a few months ago. We were apart. She came last year, and then we were apart for almost a year. And so like 6-7 months into that, I was doing a show with her. And in that moment, I had this state of being, this thought entered my head, and she spoke it about 20 seconds later, and it is actually occurring now. It's been occurring for the last 2 or 3 months. I'm sorry, 2 or 3 weeks. I was reminded of it the other day, and it was and I'll just be upfront about it, because that's what this is all about: being vulnerable and true and raw and real and honest in our innocent power and grace. And what it was is we were struggling as many light workers, light holders, and the thought entered my head: wouldn't it be cool if our family helped us be together? And she said it within about 20 or 30 seconds, and I told her later, I thought that entered my head. I didn't think it; it just appeared, right?
Yes, it's amazing.
Yeah. So it started to happen.
I'm experiencing it all the time. I know exactly what you mean, especially with my children. I have to take really care of what I pick, because he picks up almost instantly. It's like, it's amazing. And as you say, it's happening more and more now, and it's just amazing.
The other thing that's happening more and more now, you know, in the previous, let's say from 2011, 2012, people talked about, and I love what you said. Let me give you some props, because I love what you said at the beginning of the show when you talked about calling in our multidimensional aspects, but also our human aspects, which we forgot, you know, and it took me a while to figure that out. But what I'm starting to hear is a different type of vocalization of multidimensional aspects. It used to be kind of almost like a light worker cliche: pull in your multidimensional aspects and call them in and call them home. Now people are starting to get into that frequency of being them. People are starting to see them in each other. People are starting to have experiences with their multidimensional aspects that are materializing, and family that's materializing. Morgan and I have talked about that on these shows. Over the last 12 weeks or so, we've had visitations, what the humans might call visitations. We've seen different incarnations morphing in each other's faces. Are you having these type of experiences? Have you had these type of experiences, or the people that you work with?
Do you mean these visitations? What do you mean now by?
I guess a materialization beyond the third eye, beyond the into the audible senses, the see, touch, taste, feel. Are you seeing that in any of your clients, where they're getting visits where they're actually starting to see, at least with some translucence, beings appearing before them, and also maybe even seeing their faces, or in the faces of others around them, their multidimensional aspects?
Yes. But that's something I've done for a long time. When I give sessions, I see certain beings, and also because I give readings where I tune into whatever higher aspect that wants to come through now, to empower them in coming into the wholeness. Because basically we are everything, you know, I mean, but there are certain aspects that are more prevalent that you maybe need right now to with certain energy, certain higher aspects that we need to connect with to serve and to fulfill our plan, and they will introduce themselves.
Yes.
And that's something that I have felt lately. Just yesterday, I was introduced. There was a being. Actually, I was just looking at her picture. I've looked at her picture many times. It's a Pleiadian being that was very known in the 70s. I've known about her for years, but I always kind of felt in a way that she was part of me, but I never, engaged in, could she be a higher aspect or something like that. It was just like normal. But she just came in so powerful, and just immediately I broke out in tears, and I just felt her, me as one, you cannot differentiate it.
Right.
And it's these feelings, when you have these feelings, there's just no space for doubt, because it's an inner knowing, it's a feeling, it's something that you experience. Yes.
Yes.
And the connection was just so clear. So it's like you cannot separate it. You just know this is who I am. This is one. And I've had that also with angelic aspects happening. When the Elohim came to me back in 2009, I was more or less forced also to embrace the essence, which was a very hard one, because a lot of ego came up of not being worthy, and all that stuff. So, but just to say about how I am feeling now about integration, that there are many, because I see that you, to my sessions, that have been working on integrating both the human aspect, but also the higher aspects. But what I've experienced, especially since of the latest months, more and more, is that now I'm coming to the next point that let's say it like that. First we started, it was like the human being having a spiritual experience. Then the next step was you came to realize I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And now it's just you're experiencing both at the same time, and they don't there's no problem in that. It's just you see and you experience both at the same time. And when you do that, that's when you totally transcend that, and you just come into what I now feel. I really feel now lately, especially the last couple of months, but increasingly more and more, and especially I must say these Arcturian activations have really done a lot, that now I feel more like actually it's just consciousness.
Yes.
It's not something that you could put into, this is an aspect, it's just melting into one. So I feel more like a consciousness. Through this consciousness, I experience my reality.
Yes.
If you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah. It's kind of like we try to explain it in human language, and we can't. You really can't.
You can't.
Do it. But we can try, because there is some value to that. I mean, yeah, I totally get what you're saying. Let me ask you this, just because I'm curious. That's part of our natural makeup, right? Do you?
Yes.
I'll just be open about this. I've been getting over the last few days that I can only speak for myself, that I'm moving into a consciousness, or in a consciousness, where I very well could materialize in the physical etherical integration somewhere else on the planet. This is beyond bilocation. I'm talking about full-blown teleportation, where I could actually physically materialize in matter, and in hard matter, what the human would call hard matter. Do you think that's in front of us? That's happening?
Oh yes. That's the next thing. Absolutely. And this is something that I have been feeling coming for. I'm not there yet, but I feel it coming closer and closer to it. And I believe also it's when you really come into this consciousness, that's where, as you said, this materialization that we are remembering now how it works. It's like this distortion of time, if you say, though there is no time, but this distortion of thinking the thought until it happens, it's becoming smaller and smaller.
Yes.
And when it really merged into one thing, it instantly, that's where you really can do, then I believe you will be able to teleport yourself. It's just you think yourself to that place and you're just there. You can't figure out how to get there, but you just, because it's like there's no time, you're just there.
I can't wait.
And that's really, I can't wait either. I always wanted that. I always wanted to go to the walls and teleport myself. I don't go for less, because I know it's fun and it's possible.
We'll be able to eat at the best restaurants around the world whenever we want to.
Exactly. So the thing is, again, to remember, and that's again, to not be in the intellect, to just say yes, to give our yes, our unreserved yes.
Yeah.
Don't ask about how, why, and what. Just, catch yourself, say to all of us, I say to myself, every time that comes, because it's just this old conditioning and it can happen.
Yes.
But, I had it happen also when I had to move, I was told last year in autumn that I was going to Denmark again after 20 years abroad. I'm Danish, brought up in Denmark, and I had a better wall in front of me because the father of my children is from Germany. The children are born there, and you cannot just take the children and walk and go, of course. But the children wanted to come, I wanted to go, but it was just like a better wall. He was just not open to it. And of course, I knew and understood it was all because of his fears. So we worked on that behind the scenes, right? Yes. And then I was twice in Denmark last year, and in November, then the Elohim came in, and they just told me, you are going to go to Denmark.
Yes.
And they said, don't waste one thought, don't waste one moment thinking that this is not going to happen, because it will happen, and everything will be catered for. And at that time, it just looked like impossible. And within 4 months, 5 months, I was in Denmark, and everything was really catered for. It was really amazing. I got help there, doors open, possibilities open. I actually live on 2 small rooms here with my sister at the moment, waiting for my house to materialize.
Yes. Very good.
My sister and her family. It turns out that things are, the timing of it is a bit changing, so that's why the house hasn't manifested yet. But we're still with my sisters. We're living here, my 2 kids, my dog, in 2 rooms.
There you go.
It's just amazing. I'm just so grateful.
Yeah, I think I think this is another strong message that's been coming in to many of us, and that's no more lack, no more scrimping, living hand to mouth. That superabundance is here. Superabundance is here. We got a few more minutes. We didn't talk much. I'd love to have you back, by the way. I'd love for you to collaborate again with you. I feel like that we will, since we're both rebels. Blue rice. But
yes.
I don't know. We didn't ask much about your practice as a practitioner, your session work and such, but I would allow, as the divine masculine, allow space for the divine feminine to spend whatever time you want here in the last few minutes to project any healing, anything you'd like to talk about, anything that you might feel resonates with you to do in this moment. It's all on you.
Yeah, I would like to do a light transmission now, for whatever wants to come through, because I work with so many beings, galactic star beings. So I will just invite, I'm the vessel, so we'll just invite them to come in and share energy this moment. Just open ourselves to receive and open up and just see what comes. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
It's actually Mary Magdalene who comes to us and she's telling us to just surrender and trust. Surrender and trust and be in your heart. And allow yourself to step up and be visible. Be visible, be vulnerable. Allow yourself to be vulnerable and naked. Yes, because we have been taught that it's a sign of weakness. Yes, but it's the other way around. Things have been turned around. Things have been twisted. And it's through being in this vulnerability, being in an open heart space that people come in touch with you. All low energy can just fall away. It's like oil and water. Just trusting and being, and never be so alone that would fall off your shoulders. And you can just start to be in this grace of the present moment. Just allow yourself to fall. It's like a tree falling back into the womb where you're safe. Into your heart. You're being in your heart. You're connected to the womb of Mother, of the Divine Mother. And there all your needs will be catered for. You'll be safe always. And to be in the trust and just surrender and just love and understand that you are that love. You come from love. It's not something that you have to deserve. It's who you are. Just start and surrender. Let yourself fall. And you feel that you care. You care. And the whole universe has your back. You just open your heart to receive the blessings. Being in your heart. Give up the spoken. And everything you ever dreamed of will come into being.
Yes.
And everything that you ever wished for, all the abundance of the world is within your heart. It's intrinsically part of who you are. You are beautiful. Maybe it's the
Namaste. Let me just, on behalf of everybody here, thank you so much for what you just shared with us. We've had so many firsts on these shows, and every day something happens that's far more expansive than has ever happened before. So I want to remind everybody that the noises and sounds that we were hearing the second she started to do this are part of the frequencies combining to create an ever-expanding vibration, including the fact that she's surrounded by pure light. And you're going to have to go back, Grace, and look at this show, because you've actually almost, the entire thing is almost turned white. So it's a combination of all of these frequencies, the Magdalene, the Galactics, your pure essence as a channel and conduit, the light. It's all part of that consciousness that you are, that we all are. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing this with us. It is
deeply honored, and I'm so grateful for having been given this opportunity. And it was really great being with you, Todd. As I wrote to you, I don't know why, but I had to address you, with the King of Hearts. There's something about you. I don't know, this Arthurian energy. I don't know what it is, but I had to address you like that. I just want to tell you I see you, and I really also feel that we are kindred souls. And I'm so happy to be here with you. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you for all that you do to serve. It's just fantastic work that you do, and under the circumstance that you do it. So thank you so much for that.
Always at service, and always at service to you. Oh my gosh, we all have chills. This is impacting all of our multidimensional aspects, all dimensions that we exist in. This is not just about Mother Earth, and this is a perfect example. We're all coming together as one. Everybody, be looking out. I'm going to be putting on our Solargy Network on the different pages the event that Grace is having tomorrow. I would highly encourage you, if you want to see more of this incredible supernatural, groundbreaking, energetic, door knocking down energy that is being driven by this beautiful divine goddess, vessel of the universal, our sister Grace. Thank you so much for sharing space with us today. Peace out and big love to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you all for your love and support. Thank you. I love you. Thank you.
Love you. And thank you all for being a part of this, because it wouldn't happen. We're all coming together in this vortex we call Soulgy. We'll see you all a little bit in about another 2 hours.